I'm in the ancient city of Ayutthaya in Thailand, and I'm surrounded by cocks. There are roosters everywhere in this temple. So my mission today is to try and find out why there are so many roosters in this place. So today I'm on a quest to learn more about this ancient city of Ayutthaya, and I start my journey here at Wat Yai Chai Mongkhon. Apparently this is very important and significant in Ayutthaya's history, so I'm going to learn a bit more about this, and that's kind of the quest of today, learn more about this ancient city, because I don't know actually very much about this city. I know that it was sacked and destroyed by a Burmese attack. I know that it was, it grew to power after Sukhothai, and I think it was also after the Khmer Kingdom as well. So my quest today is to learn more about this magical place, this Ayutthaya, the ancient city of Thailand. I must admit, I don't know a hell of a lot about this area. I know that Ayutthaya, its place in history was kind of ended when the Burmese attacked, and that's when the capital of Thailand, or Siam as it was known at the time, moved down to what's known as today as Bangkok. So after Ayutthaya, the capital then shifted to Thonburi side in Bangkok, and then after that it shifted the other side of the Chao Phraya River to the Ratanakosin, and that was the commencement of the Chakri dynasty, and we're living in the Chakri dynasty today. In fact, we're up to the 10th king. King Rama number 10 is on the throne currently. So I need to know a little bit more about where this place fits in history. I know prior to Ayutthaya there was the Khmer Kingdom, and also before this there was the Sukhothai. So I'm trying to work out where this all fits into the picture and learn a lot more about it. Anyway, I'm in this magnificent temple here. I'll see what I can find out about this one. If you're visiting Ayutthaya, it's an example of what not to do. Don't pose as a Buddha. Don't imitate the Buddha image, so don't do this. It's very disrespectful. So I've just been studying up on this magnificent temple here, and here are a few things that I've learned about this temple. This is Wat Yai Chai Mongkhon, and in the year 1592, when King Naresuan conquered the war with the king of Aparat of Myanmar, he built this chedi as a signal of the conquest. It was not clear whether it was a new chedi or a restoration of an old one. However, it was originally named Chai Mongkhon Chedi, but the local people called it Chedi Yai, Yai meaning big in Thai. And after a time, these two names got combined, and together we have Wat Yai Chai Mongkhon. And this name actually translates to Great Monastery of Auspicious Victory. So this temple was actually abandoned after the second fall of Ayutthaya, and it remained in ruins right up until the Ratanakosin. It was then restored again during the Ratanakosin kingdom. In 1592, the Battle of Nong Sarai took place, one of the many battles between Ayutthaya and the Burmese. During the battle, Ayutthaya King Naresuan moved forward and attacked the Burmese Crown Prince Minchit Sra in a one-on-one combat on war elephants. King Naresuan killed the Burmese prince with his sword, and after that the Burmese army retreated. On his return to Ayutthaya, the king ordered that this Chedi be built to commemorate the great victory over the Burmese. During this battle, the king and his brother, King Ekatatsorot, were separated from their armies, and this made King Naresuan quite upset. So when he actually returned to Ayutthaya, he demanded the execution of all his officers. However, that didn't happen. The Supreme Patriarch intervened and requested that the punishment be suspended, and King Naresuan agreed. I've been to a lot of temples in Thailand and Cambodia and China and Vietnam and Myanmar, and this is one here that's actually really well kept. They obviously have plenty of finance, but it's really well kept. The gardens are well kept, the relics are really in tip-top condition. I'm really impressed with this. So if you're coming to Ayutthaya, I'd recommend this be one of your stops, if not the first stop. It's just a little bit out of town. Now if it is your first time to a temple in Thailand, a couple of things to remember. Ladies, cover up, don't wear anything too sexy. This is actually a temple, a place of worship, so keep that in mind when you're choosing your outfit for the day. The other thing is, wear some shoes that you can easily slip off and on, because when you enter a lot of these holy places, you're going to have to remove your shoes. Please don't imitate the Buddha when you're posing for photographs, and also you should be a bit lower. So if I was to really want to get a photo with the Buddha, my head should be lower than the Buddha. Buddha is holier than me. Don't climb all over the statues. The reason I'm saying this, I've been here for about 10 minutes and I've seen all these things happen. Yeah, this is not the place to pose for sexy photos as well. Now you're going to see during the day some of the temples where the Buddha's head's unfortunately been knocked off. Don't place your head over that and pose for a photo. That's really disrespectful. Anyway, I'm on the lookout for a reclining Buddha. I've just read that there's a big reclining Buddha here in these temple grounds, so I'm going to look for that now. It's the middle of the day, it's bloody hot, but also there's a lot of stairs to climb up here, and as I was climbing out the stairs, it made me think this is actually a pretty impressive monument for a big victory. Made me reflect on some of the things that I've won for victories, and the only area that's ever happened is in sports. Gotta catch my breath. And the best I've got is a couple of trophies and certificates, but this is the ultimate trophy, winning a war over the Burmese and erecting this massive Chedi for the whole of the kingdom to see is one hell of a trophy. So well done King Naresuan. This is an impressive trophy. So I found the reclining Buddha, draped in gold. Now, two things I could point out about this reclining Buddha. First of all, as with most reclining Buddhas, it's facing the east, and that's the direction of the sunrise. But also, you may notice the building. So when we tour around Ayutthaya, majority, in fact, all of the Ayutthaya ruins, you'll see foundations and walls, but no roofs. And the explanation for this is the red bricks that the red bricks are quite strong, then they're a local product, but then there was a lot of wood used back in the Ayutthaya period, so all the roofs were made of wood. And so when the Burmese ruined or razed the city, everything was burned, so there won't be any roofs. It's just some wall remainings and foundations that you'll be seeing. So actually, when you're wandering around here, it takes a little bit of imagination. There's actually some good tools around. There's books, but there's also some AR, augmented reality scenes that you can actually scan the QR code, and it superimposes what the buildings were like back in the Ayutthaya period. So there's some good tools that help enhance your imagination. But yeah, to truly enjoy the experience around Ayutthaya, you do need to kind of put your mind back into that period and imagine what it must have been like, which I enjoy doing. So wandering around these places are just magical for me, just trying to think about what it was like back in those days. Interestingly though, most of my mind shifts towards what would I actually be? What would my role be? Would I be a slave? Would I be a monk? Would I be in the part of the army? I really don't know where I would have been placed in society back in these days. Who knows? One thing is interesting about traveling around, I've been living in Bangkok for 2 years, and during those 2 years it's been during the COVID period. So now we're kind of coming out of the COVID period, actually seeing some tourists again. So I've had Thailand to myself for 2 years basically without any tourists, but now I've got to share it with people. Okay, I'm just leaving the main temple area, back to where all the cocks are, and just want to learn about this one last monument here. I do believe it's something to do with King Naresuan. So I'm going to wander in there and look at this monument and learn a little bit more about him. So he was the guy who won the fight against the Burmese, and that victory was recognized or celebrated by this massive Wat in the background. So let's learn a little bit more about this king. So I can't get a really good shot of King Naresuan because it's behind the glass. However, I do recognize him. I've seen his statue, his image in a lot of places, because he's the king, which I know is having the cool flat top. Anyway, so this is King Naresuan. Now he is famous because he fought a combat with the Burmese king, and it was on the back of 2 elephants, and he killed the Burmese king and won that battle. So he's well revered in Thai history. So here out the front of the King Naresuan monument are the elephants that the king rode upon when he had the one-on-one combat with the Burmese king, and his sword struck the Burmese king and killed him. Very impressive, these 2 elephants out the front. Google Maps, 5 stars. I just made an entry. Wat Yai Chai Mongkhon gets a 5-star rating for me. First of all, it's really well kept. It's a magnificent temple, and it's steeped in history, and it's got a lot of cultural and its historical significance. Now, I'm about to leave here. I've learned a lot. The last question is, why are there so many roosters and cocks around? Well, the story goes that King Naresuan was actually had his own fighting cocks. He was a cockfighter, and he had some of the strongest and fiercest cocks in the land at the time. But also, more to the point, the roosters here embody or represent the spirit of King Naresuan, who himself was very strong and a cunning fighter. That explains why there's 1 million cocks, 1 million roosters in the grounds at this Wat. Anyway, time for the next temple. I am going to go to Wat Panan Chong, which was built in 1324, and learn a little bit more about Ayutthaya and what this Wat's all about. If you haven't had the pleasure of seeing a cockfight like I have, the first thing I'll just fill you in on, the first thing that I noticed was their talons. And the talons are really well depicted here in this temple ground, but in the real cockfights, they often strap actual knives, kind of sharpened spears to these talons. And the roosters use these to kill the opposition, and whoever dies first, the other one's the winner. So I'm just wandering around this this park here. All I keep looking at is the talons, the size of the talons and how sharp they are, and remembering back to my first cockfight. It was my first and last, by the way. I'm not really into that kind of thing.